is the time now? It is still we have 1 more hour's time approximately. So now you saw in this diagram, you saw different types of inheritance. Whenever I wanted to create a new entity, I had to just write that entity as a box and I had to write one line. You see, creating a new entity was so simple when it was represented in the form of in the form of boxes. But if I want to write a program, how should I write? That is called as extending a class. So how to extend a class? You see now, if suppose you see you have in the example, you see you have what is called as X. From X, I am creating what is called as Y. Y is a child of Z of X. Say if suppose I have an entity called as X and I have a diagram like this. Writing in the form of a diagram is so simple. All I need to do is to write 2 boxes. Inside one box I have to write the name X, and inside another box I have to write the name Y. Okay, if I want to write this code, what I need to do? Okay, it's very simple. Okay, this box, X box, that is the father box I am writing. I have written some data here and one constructor I have written. And then while creating the child, be careful, what am I trying to do? You see, child is named as Y. Say for example, there is Manju, son of Sanju. Okay, how do I write this in English? Manju, every language has its own grammar, I have told. Manju, son of S/O, you write. You will write father's name, Sanju. Is it not? This is the grammar of English. Manju, son of Sanju. Here, you will write your name first, and then you will write S/O, son of, and then you will write name of the father. Similar to this. Now, Y is the son. Okay, this is son of. For this son of, in language in Java, you have to use the keyword extends. So every language has its own grammar, I have already told. So instead of writing S/O, you can write extends. So okay, Manju is the child, Y is the child of what? What is the father's name? Father name is X. So I will be writing this as class X. Okay, class Y extends name of the father you have to write. Okay, that the same thing I have done. You see now, if suppose I want to create a class called as Y from a class called as X, what I need to write? Class Sanju, extends is son of, X is name of the father. So the same thing I am trying to show here. So this is Sanju and son of Manju. This is Manju. Okay, how do I write this? Sanju, son of Manju. So father can have some property and even the son can have some property. Remember, father's property can be accessed by the child, but father cannot access. This is not possible. This is not allowed. This is allowed. Son can always access father's property. Father cannot access child's property. Okay. So now I have a derived class called as Y, and this derived class has one property called as B, and there is a property called as A. In the father there is a property called as A. In the child there is a property called as B. And you see, this is a method. This is a method present in the child. A child can access both its own property as well as its father's property. You see, we are trying to access A, which is the father's property, and we are trying to access B, which is its own property. Okay, B. It can access B as well as it can access A. So the same thing I'm trying to do here. And inside another class called as PGM11 test, I have written the main method. So what should be the name of the file? Identify the class. Now totally there are 3 classes: first class, second class, and third class. What is the name of the file? Identify the class that contains the main method. Which is the class that contains the main method? PGM11 test is the name of the class that contains main method. Okay, so what should be the file name? It should be PGM11 test.java. This is the name I need to use as the file name. .java I need to give along with that name. Okay, so remember these points. So here what am I trying to do? Here what am I trying to do? There is father, there is child, father child, but you observe I am creating a key not for the father but for the child. I am creating the key. That means I am creating an object for Y, not for X. So now what happens? You all know, whenever an object is created, corresponding constructor should be invoked, I told. So corresponding constructor means this constructor is invoked and this property B gets initialized. But is it a good practice to say, suppose say father is there and son is there? Okay. Is it a good part of the son to have food before father, or is it necessary for the, see, let us assume here I am creating an object for Y. Whenever an object is created, corresponding constructor should be invoked. So this constructor should get invoked. But what is getting initialized here? Child's property B is getting initialized. What about father's property? See, this is child's namkaran. This is father's namkaran, naming ceremony of father. This is naming ceremony of the child. So when I am creating an object for, the derived class, that is for Y, here I am creating an object for Y. Corresponding constructor means control should come here. But is it correct to do the namkaran of the child before the namkaran of the father? No, that's not right. So what the compiler will do is, okay, Java does is, though we are creating an object for Y, and what type of constructor is there? In here, what type of constructor is there? Default constructor. It is not accepting any values. Here also what constructor is there? Default constructor is there. When there is a default constructor in both base class and in the derived class, whenever an object is created for the derived class, okay, first it will go to, though an object is created for the derived class, it will go to the base class constructor. It will do the namkaran of father. Then afterwards it will come to, okay, the derived class constructor. Then it does the namkaran of the derived class. Okay, automatically. Though we are creating an object for the derived class, here I am creating an object for derived class. Even when I am creating an object for derived class, control will not come here and do the, okay, do the namkaran of Y. Okay, instead control will first go to base class constructor. It will first initialize base class field. Then it comes to the derived class constructor and initializes the derived class field. Okay, so now when you are printing this show, A means it should give me 15, B means it should give me whatever is this value. I'm not able to see this value. Can you see that value? 22. I think it is 22. You should be getting, sorry, it's 20. It should give that 20 or that 22 at this particular point. Is that clear? So when this will happen? Only when you have a default constructor. This namkaran of father and then namkaran of child will be done if and only if there are default constructors in both base class and in the derived class. That means this is also not accepting any parameters. This is also not accepting any parameters. This happens, namkaran of father and son, and then later on son happens only when what? There are default constructors in both base class as well as in the derived class. So this is extending a class. So you now, I hope, understood the meaning of this statement. It is like Sanju, son of Manju. Sanju, son of Manju, or Manju, son of Sanju. Something like that. So first you will write your name, then you will write this extends is like S/O, and this is your father's name. So that is extending a class. Next thing, method overloading. You should not get confused with this is not overloading, this is overriding. What I am trying to derive, show you now, is something different, which I had not discussed. What I had discussed earlier was overloading. What did I tell you for overloading? Okay, let me just come back to, you see this slide. Here you will observe that, okay, in this example, you are able to see, this is called as overloading. Using same name, Manju, 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 3 people are there. This Manju will eat 2 masala dosas, while this eats 2 puris, while this Manju eats, all the 3 are named as Manju only. All the 3 are present in a same class. But what they eat, how much they eat, what they give back. Okay, say let's this Manju make payment via Google Pay, and this is paying payment. He's making payment through Phone Pay, and this one is using Paytm. So, okay, there should be a difference in the number of parameters or in the types of parameters. Though the names are same, there can be difference. There should be difference in one place, at least in the parameter types, number of parameters, or in the return types. There should be difference at any one of these places. If there is a difference in all the 3 places, fine. Okay. If there is a difference in all the 3 places, fine. But minimum one place there should be difference. So using same name for more than one method in a single class, okay, with the difference here in the types of parameters or in the number of parameters or in the return types, is called as method overloading. This is overloading. Now we are about to learn something new. Okay, we are about to learn what is called as method overriding. This is very, very important. Method overriding. For this, let me give you one simple example. Say I have grand I-10. Okay, my father also has grand I-10. Asta, model Asta. Okay, my father also has Asta, say silver color Asta. I also have silver color Asta. So both of us have booked Asta model on a single day. Okay, so my father has void show is grand I-10 Asta. This is me. This is my father. Class X is my father. Class Y is me. This is Y extends, son of I have used. So this is me. You observe, I also have grand I-10 Asta. Model same, make same, year of manufacture same, color same. However, interiors can be different. This is the interior. While this is while this is accessing A, this one is accessing B. While this is accessing A, this one is accessing B. So interiors can be different. But you see, this is also named as void show. This is also named as void show. Name of the method is show. Name of the method show. How many parameters it is taking? It is not taking any parameters. This one also is not taking any parameters. So name same, parameter type same, number of parameters same, and also you observe return type also is same. Everything is same. So using this is called as signature. You find same signature in both base class, this is the parent class, and same signature you are also finding in the derived class. You see void show. Name show, no parameters here. Return type is void, return type is void here also. So, but one is present in the base class, the other one is present in the derived class. Both are not present in the same class. In overloading, all methods should be found in the same class. Here they are present in different class, and there should be difference somewhere in overloading. There can be a difference in the number of parameters, there can be a difference in the types of parameters, there can be a difference in the return type. There should be a difference somewhere. And all the three should be present in all the sums. The example, in the example I had used sum for all the three methods. All the three sum methods were present in a single class. That is overloading. What I am explaining now is overriding. So in overriding, you will find more than one method having same signature, name same, return type same, number of parameters same, types of parameters same, everything same. However, the code can be different. The interiors of my father's Grand i10 Asta and the interiors of my Grand i10 Asta may be different, but everything else is same. So this concept, one is with my father and the other one is with me. This is called as overriding. When that is the case, you see now, I am creating now, observe, I am creating an object for the child. I have already told you that child has the ability to access, has the right to access, okay, the property of father as well as his own property. Child can access his property as well as his father's property. Is it not? Now, here I am trying to invoke y1.show. You look at this. I created an object for y. For the child, I created the object. And through that object, I invoked show. There is one show in the father. There is everything same. Signature is same. There is one show in the child also. Remember, a child can access, has the right to access. This is fine. He has the right. Even this show also he can access. He has access to his father's property as well as his own property. But now, y1.show means which show is invoked? Whether it will invoke show present here or show present in the child, which show will be invoked? It will go to this particular show, the show present in the derived class, and it will display b value. So how to invoke now? How to invoke father's show? Very simple. You can use here in this method, control where it will come. Control, we know that it will come here. Here inside, if you write, okay, super.show, if you write, there is something called as super.show. Okay, super, all letters lowercase, dot show. Where should I write this line? Super.show. Where should I write this line? This I should write in the son, in the child. I write this particular line, okay, semicolon, this line I should write here as the first statement here. See, when I write y1.show, control will come here. And inside this show method, I have written this line, super.show. So the show present in the super class, that is this, will get executed by using this super method. This super keyword, I can invoke show present in this class. Okay, we all know when we write y1.show like this, control comes here to this particular show method. From here, here I have written this particular line. Let us assume when I have written this line here, control will automatically go to the show present in the base class and it will execute that particular construct.